Okay. So if you're looking at, I thought I would do 25 and 26. You might want to skip around, let's skip around a little bit to get through as much of this as we can and pick some problems that may be confusing to you. What this problem said here is if you look on the bottom of 472, they got a picture of India, and they basically talked about triangulation means basically they mapped it using triangles. And so they're going to say, okay, we're going to show you how we did this, and we're going to give you step by step some things to do. And this triangle, this pair of triangles they drew up here is kind of how they did a little section of it. So they're taking you through kind of this process. So I've already drawn and labeled the information they give us. Number 25 says find angle 3. Well, angle 3 is right here. So if you look at that, if I just pull that little triangle out by itself, maybe to help it seem a little clearer, I've got 73 degrees on this angle right here. This one is 51. Do I need to do any trig to find angle 3? Angle 3 is right up here. In the diagram, I circled it in yellow. Don't I just need to say 180 minus 73 minus 51? That's all I got to do there. There's no trig to that. So let's find that angle. Go ahead and follow along. Get your calculators out. If I kind of feel like I'm the only one punching it in the calculator, I'll just stop and let y'all work on it independently because that's not good. I don't need to learn how to do this. You do, and listening to me is not going to get it done. Okay, so we just want to make sure you're trying too. If you subtract 73 and 51 from 180, is everybody getting 56 degrees? So that's all you had to do there. That's not anything hard. So some of this stuff is just stuff you've already done. Now, the reason they're asking me to do that is because now they want me to find CB. Let me highlight that in green. CB is right here. Let me draw that triangle a little more carefully. I now know this is 73. They told me that, degrees. This is 51 degrees. We just figured out that this one angle was 56 degrees, and they want me to find this side right here, and they did give me a side. They told me that this was 24. And they told me to use the law of sines to do it. Do you remember that the law of sines says, let me just write some letters on this. I didn't do it the way they did, so let me fix that. I could say the sine of angle A over the side across from A is equal to sine of angle B over the side across from angle B is equal to the sine of angle C over the side across from angle C. I don't want all three of those. I only want two of them. Let's identify, we're trying to find that orange line. What angle is that orange line across from? Right here that I drew on the triangle, CB. What angle is? AC would be a side next to it, but if it go across to the angle, that's angle, they're going to call it angle A, okay, just to make it simple. So if I know I'm trying to find CB, why don't we just call it X so we can just have something to call it, okay? Let's. Is
that 13 or is that 73?
It's a 73. You look at the book and stuff, and it's actually written over here. It's just hard to cram it in with the stylus. If I take the sine of angle A, the sine is 73, and the side across from it, we call it X, because that's what we're looking for here. So I'm just going to call the thing we look for X.
Wait, is 20?
Now, I need to find what's another angle that we actually know the side across from it? Which angle up there do we know the side across from it? So we know, since we knew angle C, we're going to write the sine of that angle over the side across from it. And now to solve for X, all I have to do is what? What do I do to solve that? I'm writing it, cross multiply, yeah, I'm writing it out here since I'm getting not many answers here. All right, so if I multiply here, 24 sine of 73 degrees is equal to X times the sine of 56 degrees. How would I get X by itself? It's right here. If it's multiplied by the sine of 56 degrees, the opposite of multiplying is dividing by sine of 56 degrees, okay? Now, That crosses out, and that means x is just this stuff divided in the calculator. The thing you got to be careful about when you put it in the calculator is you might want to do this. Put the whole thing on top in parentheses, and then, hit your division bar for the fraction, your division button for the fraction bar, and then you're going to type in sine 56. So if you want to watch, I don't know if it's going to help or not, but let's try this. 24, wait, let me clear it off. Let me put it in parentheses just to be careful. 24 sine 73. I just typed in exactly what I saw. I have to make sure my calculator is in degrees, right, because it can be set to a different measurement. Now, after that 73, you notice how the sine 73, it opened a parentheses. So in my calculator, I closed, after 73, I closed the sine parentheses, then I closed the parentheses for the numerator. So I have parentheses, 24 sine, parentheses, 73, close parentheses, close parentheses. Now I'm going to divide by sine 56. And I'm going to go ahead and close that parentheses after 56 because the calculator opened up one. All I got to do is hit enter and I get my length of my side. That missing side there, x, what did y'all get when you did it? I don't have any room to write it, so I'll write it in a different color. When y'all put it in, did you get 27.68, blah, 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 blah? Okay, so did they tell us how to round it? It says use the law of sines to find CB to the nearest 0.1 mile. That means 1 decimal place or 1/10 of a mile. So if I rounded that, here's the spot that I'm going to write down, but the 8 rounds the 6 up to a 7. So it's 27.7 is our answer there. And I'm out of space, so I'll write that there just so we can still see the diagram there. So we cross-multiplied. You treat these trig functions just like numbers that you would divide and multiply by on equations. We can divide out the whole sine of 56 there. How do I find angle D on 27? It's not really trig, is it? What do all the angles in a triangle add up to? 180. So for number 27, when they asked me what's angle D, I could just say, well, 180, subtract out 85, and then subtract out 42. What would that be? What are y'all getting? Guys, it can just so much faster to use the law of sines. So I took the thing I was trying to find, and I made sure that I got that angle. So that's how I got this fraction. And the first fraction, I took the side that was labeled, well, I found it in the last problem. It was 27.7. It's across from angle 53, so sine 53 over 27.7. I'm using that law of sines, which is nice and short.
So dB is sin 85?
Yeah, we cross multiply. Good. So that's going to be 27.7 sine 85 degrees is equal to, I'll just switch colors here, it's equal to this, multiplied together, x sine 53 degrees. But I want to get x by itself, so what am I going to divide both sides by? Yep, that's how we get rid of it. Just like we would get rid of a number, we just divide both sides by that. I'm going to put it like this. And the only thing I just caution you to do is put this in parentheses, close out all your sine parentheses that are going to pop up. Actually, I don't need to put the bottom in parentheses. So let's type this in now. Parentheses, 27 point, can't type, 0.7 sine, I can't even read, it's 85, thanks. And I'm going to close the sine parentheses out, and then I'm going to close my parentheses out for my whole numerator, and then I'm going to divide by sine 53. And I'm going to close that parentheses. And when I hit enter, the calculator is such a wonderful device. Good. Yeah, good. What'd you get now, Misha?
34.552.
Okay, so how would you round that to 1 decimal place?
34.6.
Good. 34.6 would be our missing x there. Y'all want to use, let's see, I can use either of the angles now, because look, I have the other sides filled in, so I got numbers on them. Y'all want to use angle D or you want to use angle C? What do you want?
Angle C.
Okay, so we're going to pick angle C. So the sine of angle C, which happens to be, what, 85 degrees? And then the side across from it is 34.6. And now all I have to do is cross multiply, and I got it, right? Just like I did down here, I'd get, let's see if I can cram it in here, 34.6 sine 42 degrees is equal to B times the sine of 85 degrees. I'm going to go write that over here. Fill it back in. 34.6 times the sine of what did we say?
42.
Thanks. 42 degrees was equal to, what did we get? The
X sine 85.
Okay, X sine 85. I think, did we call it B that time, or?
I think it was.
Yeah, I'll just put, and it was 85 here. Okay, since I called it B on that other slide, I'll call it B here. You could call it X, though. All right, so I just divide both sides, right, to get B by itself. Divide out that sine 85 degrees. Unfortunately, you can't cancel out the two signs there. It doesn't work that way. They're returning a value that's kind of weird, so you can't just like cross the signs out, though a lot of people want to. I just need to make sure when I put it in the calculator, I'm going to put all this in a parentheses. So when I type this in, it's going to look like 34.6 sine. The calculator's going to open a parentheses. I'm going to type 42. I'm going to close that parentheses. And then that's the end of my numerator. So I put another parentheses. And then I'm going to put the divide for the fraction bar. And then I hit sine. The calculator opens a parentheses. I'm going to put 85 there, and I'm going to close the parentheses. So that's what I'm going to be typing in case you're having a hard time. Did you get it already?
23.240.
23.24.
Oh, 3.
Okay. So it wanted us to round to one decimal place.
So just like 2.
Yep, 23.2 is about what B is equal to, or that side, what was that side? CD. So CD is about 23.2. Law of cosines, let's label so we can use the law of cosines. I'm going to use a blue color here. Across from angle B, we call it B. Across from angle C, we'd call it C. I wish they had picked one with ABC on it. Across from angle D, I can call that D. We're trying to find B, aren't we? So here's how the law of cosines goes. If it bothers you, how do we do this? This book is kind of weird in that they give you one formula, and a lot of books give you the three, and they switch them all out. So they want you to get the concept of the formula. If I'm trying to find B squared, it's going to be the other two sides each squared and added together. So with my other two sides, aren't they 27.7? And then you got 34.6 here. So you're gonna take each of the other sides and square them. You're going to then subtract 2 times those two sides. So it's 2 times this number and this number before it got squared. And then you take the cosine of the angle across from the side you're trying to find. So it's going to be the cosine of angle B. What was angle B? Right here, right? 42 degrees. That's what I'm going to put in the calculator. By the way, if you want to do it all at one time, you can. Since y'all aren't as familiar with your calculators as the 10th graders, let's just go ahead and do it this way, though. Let's go ahead and calculate this side over here by entering that in. I got this. Are y'all getting that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting something like that. So now I want to know the square root of that. I don't want to know what B squared is. I want to know what B is, right? So I'm going to square root both sides. So all I got to do in the calculator is hit second, and then your square root is above your square button. So you hit second x squared.
1459.
Huh?